Welcome to the Evolution Magazine Live series. It is June 17th, year 2021, and tonight we have a special live broadcast from a GreenLight cultivation facility in Kansas City, Missouri. Clayton Stallings visits with Dylan Budicke, the Director of Cultivation, and Paul Chapman, the Director of Operations, both of GreenLight cultivation sites. Be sure to ask your questions and stick around for views inside the grow. Our show will get underway in just a few moments, but first, a word from our sponsors. The Missouri Cannabis Industry Association has been our longest-running show sponsor, while providing quality education over many topics in partnership with area cannabis professionals. MCIA is dedicated to a free cannabis market to create supplies and prices that are patient-friendly, with initiatives to support adult-use cannabis, to protect home growers' rights, and expand the caregiving program. Go to mocia.org to learn about memberships, to learn about their certified caregiving program, and learn how to get involved. Thank you, MCIA, for being a show sponsor.
Getting a medical marijuana patient recommendation just got easier with Elevate Holistics. Using HIPAA-compliant telemedicine software, Elevate Holistics enables patients like you to receive medical marijuana recommendations from the comfort of their own homes. Here's how it works. First, visit elevate-holistics.com to book your appointment using our online schedule. Then complete the intake forms in our confirmation email. Finally, visit with the doctor using the link in your confirmation email. It's that simple. Book an appointment today.
Tonight's video is provided by Cat King Films. Check this out. Cat King Films is offering promotional content, commercials, training videos, wedding videos, and documentary-style video production at an affordable price. A free consultation comes with every project to ensure that it is personalized to your brand. Check out previous projects by exploring the different sections on the newly launched website at catkingfilms.com.
Hello, Evolution friends, family, Missouri patients. Welcome to the Evolution Live series. We are here shooting our very first show from a cultivation facility here in Missouri at the GreenLight facility in Kansas City. We got some great guests here that I'll introduce here shortly. Before we dive into the show, though, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Of course, GreenLight, who we're obviously shooting here from today. Also, MCIA, one of our longest running show sponsors. Next month, MCIA is going to have a great show on the, I believe it's the very first Thursday of the month. It's the last Thursday of the month with Cultivation Water. They're going to come in, talk about what the proper water dosing for home growers, the reverse osmosis, all that stuff. And they're going to talk a little bit about their adult use initiatives coming up on the second half of the show. That's the last Thursday of next month. Also, Casey Can Transport, the very first licensed transportation facility here in Kansas City. We're going to be doing a live show from his office in Blue Springs to meet Casey and some of his employees and talk about what's the life behind, or what's the inner workings behind the transportation systems. Why are veterans and retired police officers a big part of that thing? We're going to dive into that whole conversation next Thursday on our live show. And then also Elevate Holistics. Thank you for sponsoring the show. We're going to be giving away a free certification tonight. Just like all the other shows, if you have a renewal coming up, or if you have a friend or family member that does not have their certification, tag them in the comments. We'll be giving away that free certification here in a few days. Also, we have a free, two free packages of loyalty points for GreenLight dispensaries we're giving away tonight as well. So tag a friend. You can tag as many friends as you would like. Each time you tag, you get entered into that competition. So also I want to remind you guys, this is a interactive show. So if you guys have questions for GreenLight, if you have questions for these guys here, we're going to be talking to about the cultivation side of things, anything at all, please participate in the show. James has he's behind the computer there. He'll pop those questions up for us on the screen up here, and we'll ask those questions. So feel free to participate. You can go ahead and start asking those questions now. And so without further ado, let me introduce our guest tonight here. We have Paul Chapman over here to my left. He is the director of the cultivation operations here at GreenLight's cultivation facility. And then over here we have Dylan Budeke. Did I say that right?
Almost. Yeah, it was pretty close.
Budeke, yeah.
Budeke. It's a hard one.
Okay, Budeke. Sorry. James had it right in the intro, so thanks, James, for doing that right. Dylan Budeke is the director of the cultivation here at GreenLight.
Correct.
Before we dive into some of the questions that may be coming up here, why don't we just kind of start with y'all's background? Let's just start with two basic questions, like when did you first start growing, and then like when did you first get into the industry, and then how did that bring you to GreenLight? So we'll start with you, Dylan.
Yeah, really it all started when I was 15 years old, started growing in my parents' closet, threw 3 plants in there. They did not like that very much. Right. I've been growing for a long time, and then started moving up. That was in Colorado at the time, and then obviously, once Colorado legalized adult use recreational, I attempted to get into the market. I did it for a while, and was kind of told I wasn't allowed to because of like previous activity revolved around cannabis, which is ironic as it is, right? But I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have a similar situation.
A lot of people.
So I took a step back. I was still doing home cultivation for a while. At the same time, I was touring with a band, and eventually I decided to kind of drop it all and head to Northern California on a whim. And then I lived in a tent for 6 months. Brought my girlfriend, my dog, all that out there, and continued living in a tent. Started trimming, then started to build a reputation out there. And for a while, I was outside of Garberville, and then for most of the time after that, I was in Calaveras County.
So these are all outdoor?
Mostly
grows?
outdoor. All outdoor, but when you're in Northern California, it's like full term or light depth. There's not a whole lot of indoor cultivation.
Sure.
So learned the ins and outs of large scale cultivation while I was in Calaveras County. Was managing 13 different farms with about 1,200 gallon pots on each one.
Wow, 13 different farms.
13 farms,
That's a lot.
13 farms.
That's a lot to handle.
And our biggest thing there was, fire. I was actually talking to you about this earlier. A fire had ripped through one season and had decimated a lot of the local people's houses, and not all of them are cultivators, but had decimated their entire livelihood. And so one of the things that we tried to do that year, and that was under 215, so we went around to a lot of the property owners and we offered
before you go, so Prop 215, so that's just basically you can grow as long as you're growing for patients.
Exactly, yeah. So that was
patients.
under medical licensing in California before 65 hit. And, we went around to a lot of the local families that had lost their house, lost, everything that they had, and offered to set up cultivation sites on their property. And we're able to actually do a lot of good for the community that year.
Cannabis coming in and saving the whole community. They got to support that.
I mean, they all had active lawsuits going with PG&E, but, it's PG&E. I mean, they're not... Or they are going to pay out, but they're going to increase they're going to get their money back, that's just the way it goes. But and then after that, we decided to, once Prop 65 hit, we decided to come into a more actively legal market. Came out of the hills, and that's when I started to get into like greenhouse cultivation, using supplemental lighting a little bit. I had done some indoor grows and indoor cultivation, but nothing on the scale that what I was doing there. And I was doing that for about 4 years in Monterey County and Santa Cruz County. And then I met Paul, and within like a month of meeting him, he's like, "Oh, you should probably just come out to the Midwest with me." And I was like, well, I don't know.
Dylan's originally from Chicago.
I was born in Chicago, raised in Colorado. And
Blackhawks to Blues fan.
Got it, yeah.
That's what
I'm not going to say
we're
I'm a
shooting
Blues
for.
fan,
At least the heat was not too much of a surprise for you, like a lot.
No, not too much of a surprise. Yeah. I mean, every environment's different, but I'm super excited to be a part of the market here in Missouri. It seems like there's a good community of people, a lot of people supporting each other, and at the end of the day, I'm just happy to be a part of it, and hope I can do the best I can for the patients here, and the people who are relying on us to provide them with the best product we can possibly do.
Yeah, and I love stories that of people because I've interviewed a few people that have similar stories that. You sacrifice a lot in the very early to get into that position to gain that experience that you gain. You lived out of a tent. You were lugging these pots around these mountains. You were doing all this stuff. That was super manual labor.
And hiding from helicopters at the same time.
Exactly, and a lot of allegedly. We always say the word allegedly whenever we talk about our past here. But it's cool to see people like you that have sacrificed a lot and who have taken these risks early on in life to gain the experience, and then fast forward, here you are now. Leading this licensed cultivation facility here in our state. I admire stories like that more than people that just got started right into the industry off the bat.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Paul, give us your little history. When did you first start growing?
About 2017. I really never touched cannabis, but my godfather was into the cannabis industry in Vegas and in the California market, and he said, hey, I need somebody to come out, help build out a place. It's winter time. I didn't do a whole lot, so I was supposed to go out there part-time. Ended up out there for about 4 years before I got to come home.
Oh, wow.
And, do it again here. Learned a lot, out in California, we were in 60-year-old cut flower greenhouses that I was up on a roof every day with a hammer and visqueen pulling plastic to,
Just trying to get
just to
them
try to get
growable.
by, because it rains coming. And we experienced a lot of stuff out there, learned a lot. And the main reason for getting into the cannabis industry is I got several family members that, suffering from cancer, had suffered from cancer, and then a little cousin who had Rett syndrome and anti-seizure medicine and stuff. So I just wanted to see what it was all about. I had a landscape company, and I'm actually a certified executive chef.
Oh, wow.
That's what I went to school for, and I don't hardly cook anymore at home.
Time for
don't
that,
have the
right?
time for it, but so then we were out there, and we got rid of our properties out there and got in, decided to come back home, and that's when I met Dylan, and I'm like, hey man, I'm going home in September, you should come. And
Which was like 1 month. It was
October.
1 month that I knew
I
this
kinda-
guy, and he was like, you're coming with me. was
I
like,
knew
"All
him in
right."
passing, and
Who's coming with me?
October 16th we got, we were here,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it. I mean, but I'm more of an ops guy. I'm not the grower. I'm the guy that can, get stuff done on the cheap and make stuff work.
Sure, yeah. I mean, operations is it's just as difficult,
It's
if
clutch.
not more, than the actual cultivating
clutch.
parts. It goes hand in hand. You have to.
I mean, you have
Yeah.
a million resources on growing. You don't have that much on negotiating price of,
yeah.
Yeah,
of dehumidifiers.
I am. Yeah, I can take somebody down pretty good on some
I think you
prices.
can go a
So
little bit lower. A little bit lower.
I'm a broke college kid. That's my shit. That's my shit. So
It's just a reminder, guys, if you have any questions at home, do we have any questions coming up? All right, it looks like we have a few of these teeing up here, so bring those questions up. Okay, it was a little long. It says, another cultivator on west side of state orders the terpene profiles. That is really important for our patients and more accurate than using LeafFly or another website. Many testing facilities will test for this for an additional fee. Question is, do you do this? And if the answer is no, will you? And if that answer is no, why not? That was
I think I can address this one pretty well. The testing facility that we use, and I'll go ahead and give them a shout out right now. We do use Green Precision Analytics.
Green Precision.
Thanks, Josh.
Kohlmeyer and
Yeah.
Tony and
and
Samples
Tony, they're actually, as far as I know, they're the first ones in the state that actually are able to test for, I think it's 23 different cannabinoids. All of that information is available through the certificate of analysis that we get through them. Unfortunately, when you're packaging an eighth jar, you only have so much label space. So trying to fit 23 different cannabinoids on it gets a little cumbersome. That being said, we are working towards using
we're working on a QR
code, so you'll be able to scan it with your phone, and it'll give you a full breakdown of
the full 4-page
of
COA.
the whole certificate.
Wow,
of
that's
analysis,
awesome.
everything.
That's
It'll
cool.
be right there. You'll be able to pull it up on your phone, check it out, and it'll show you everything that we get and all the information that we need to put on the
Yeah,
COA,
that's awesome.
and then some.
Because I 100% agree. Everyone deserves to know exactly what's in their product and what it can do for them, especially if people are out there analyzing the health properties of different cannabinoids.
Nice. Yeah, keep the questions coming. That's really cool. Yeah, especially when you get into concentrates, all these.
Even
names.
less label space.
It's but the QR code. That's a great idea.
It'll be this little half-inch by half-inch QR code, and it'll pull up 4 pages of information.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and we have the QR codes in the magazine too, so maybe we can
Yeah.
incorporate
There we
some
go.
of
Absolutely.
the best
Best
terpene
COAs of the
profile.
month,
Here's
yeah.
the best QR code for
Yeah.
the best reports for the
This
month.
has 100% mercy.
Right on. So so that's cool. I'm glad you guys are doing that. And then back to Green Precision Analytics. I just want to give them one more shout out. I don't know if you guys have been following what we've been doing on Facebook, but a lot of the local home growers and influencers in the industry here have donated samples because they just got this piece of equipment that's testing femininity.
That's incredible.
They just dialed that all in, and so thanks to all the people who donated samples. Levon Hamilton with V9 Grows. You can check out his grow show every Tuesday night. There was also Jonesy, Christopher Bell, Clayton Nadai, Doug Roth with Block 2 Technologies. I'm probably missing a few, but thank all of you for donating all those samples for them to dial that equipment in.
Don't stop pheno hunting, though. We need that. We need that new stuff, though.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even if it's a mistake.
That's
That's
what we need. People popping from beans, trying to find these best things.
Yeah, but that's super.
Yeah,
it's a lost art that's starting to come around with the technology.
And why waste your time, for all those weeks of wasted electricity and water, your personal time to find out it's a melon, you got to pitch it. $15. They're doing that now. They just launched that.
Sometimes I want the mail.
If you got the good
we need that pollen, you know.
But no, at least you have the option to check that out. So next month we'll be giving away 6 free femininity tests and 1 free potency test on each show next month because they're sponsoring our series next month. So thanks to Green Precision Analytics. We got another question up here. It says, how are the prices looking, and will you be in a place to compete for lower costs to patients?
Yes, that is one of our goals, is to give a patient a quality product at a lower price. We are moving towards that. We're trying to get there. Everything is going, as more and more cultivation licenses are coming up and stuff's popping out, we're able to, get down on our prices and, carry more a variety of product.
Very cool.
So
yeah, prices will come down. We've heard that. Obviously it's definitely a supply and demand thing. I know there's lots of debate out there online. Why are prices so high? We've seen a lot of good responses from dispensaries, especially with the RSO oil.
And that's the hardest one is RSO. It has the best medicinal value of any product I've ever seen. But
you're putting in
it's just so time consuming and cost consuming to create, and I understand that it the potential benefits of it for patients, and believe me, we're doing the best we can to try and make it available to the people who need it the most.
But it comes down to when you're creating this new market, you're pushing out this new form of medicine, and you're just getting the industry started. So it's you really had to think about reaching the masses, because the masses are not the people who need the RSO oil. But
correct.
On the other side, the RSO oil is the patients who need it the most. What do we do here? Should we help the masses, or should we try to help the ones that need it the most? It's very different.
And how do you do that?
The same 1,000
do I need
gram.
a doctor's note saying that you got stage 4 terminal cancer?
Yeah, and that's the same thing with these companies, Kansas City Cannabis Company and some other, and Fresh Green and Relief Resources. They're some of them are giving away at cost, some of them are giving away for free, but they don't really have a system set up to find them to really
if you are going to make it affordable, then you're gonna have to you're gonna have to catch that revenue somewhere, unfortunately, for everything to work and for us to keep working. We have to make money at some point.
Sure.
Which is as much as I hate saying it, but
yeah,
it takes a lot. There was a lot of money went into
a lot of money went into it, and our monthly cost. Without HVAC right now, we're in $60,000 a month in electric, trying to get medicine out to the people, and
this facility alone, we employ 70 people from all different walks of life. And some of them are patients as well. You know, a lot of them are veterans that, you know, we found. We do try to employ veterans when we can. When we find them.
Do you guys allow? And we have a question. I'll get to that here shortly. But do you guys allow your employees to do licensed home cultivation?
It all depends on what department. If you're working in cultivation, no.
Yeah.
Because we don't want any cross-contamination.
Cross-contamination is our biggest concern with that.
If you're working, you know, in packaging, or if you're helping us, you know, make the compliance labels,
or
then
dispensaries.
Yeah, dispensary. Then that's another.
If you're not bringing in outside contaminants to our cultivation rooms,
basically,
we're a little more lenient.
If you're not going into the grow room every day and, you know, handling hands-on with plants, then we do allow it.
Yeah.
But if you are, and everybody gets it, any
home cultivator, any cultivator knows, it only takes one to ruin the whole thing.
So we got another question.
Yeah.
This is, can you offer tours, or I guess do you offer tours of your facility to the general public?
We can't offer tours to the facility to the general public. If you are a badged, I don't know if we can do medical patients.
I don't think we
I think
can
you
from
need
a
to
liability
have-
standpoint.
I think you need to have an agent.
Agent badge.
Agent badge rather than a Missouri medical.
It's more of a
patient.
liability. You know, we got water, you know, runoff coming off.
And once
we don't
again,
need
it also
to-
comes back to cross contamination. I mean, you're outside, you brush against a bush outside. There's an aphid on it, and you walk into our facility. Now we got a real problem on our hands.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you guys are keeping it so clean like that, because I've heard of, I don't know how many facilities I've heard that have just been demolished by, you know, predators or not predator, but any kind of spider mites.
It's a constant battle, and you know, I'm certified in 3 states as a certified pesticide applicator. California, I had my QAC, which is a qualified applicator, which means I was going around. I could, you know, train rooms full of people on like proper pesticide use, proper predatory bug usage,
bug on bug
violence.
That's
that's
one of our favorite things.
That's one of our favorite things here. Yeah. One, it's cool. Two, it's effective.
Oh man, I've allegedly been hanging out with a lot of ladybugs in my past, in different gardens and stuff. Allegedly. What advice do you have for growers that are in Missouri and wanting to be cultivator in the commercial industry?
Visit us on Indeed.
Yeah, we do have several posts out on Indeed. We don't generally advertise that it's a cannabis facility necessarily. But we do give like subtle hints. The other thing is the best way, and I know it's not always fiscally responsible for some people to do. For me, I hire from the bottom and promote within. Morally, I think it's the right way to do things. The other thing that I like about it is you get a hands-on experience on every step of cultivation or processing or manufacturing, whichever avenue that you decide you want to take. I think it's important that you start at the bottom. That way you understand you had to plug emitters for 2 weeks and your hands are cramped up. But you know at the end of the day that plant is going to survive because you put in your blood, sweat, and tears to it.
Nice.
And I would never ask anyone to do anything that I've never done.
Yeah. And you've been hauling pots up the mountain,
And I've
right?
hauled 300-gallon
Slept in the
pots
tent.
in the rain.
Uphill both
15
ways.
inches of snow, uphill both ways. 115 degrees
Nice.
in the snow.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. And that's why I think it's cool for companies like GreenLight to have people like you that have done the dirty work, that have put in the time, the sweat, the tears, the the failing. There's probably a lot
fail,
of failing
yeah,
in your
oh,
guys
yeah.
too, right? Like to
I've failed more times than I can count.
yeah, it's all those years of doing that leads to getting you the experience you need.
If
for
you
a
can
position.
fail 15 times and succeed 3,
You're winning.
you're doing pretty good.
I just saw another question come up on my phone here. Okay, there it is. So next, this one. So this one's a little bit of a touchy thing, and there's a lot of this out there. You guys were totally cool to answer these questions, and we got a lot of these questions in some of the posts.
No, I'm happy that.
But I'll go ahead and read it real quick because our viewers won't be able to see that. So the question is, or the comment or question says, help us understand how there are 16 GreenLight dispensaries in Missouri when DHSS did not award a license to any applicant for 16 dispensaries. So basically, there was a limit that you can only apply for 5 dispensary licenses, and you guys there's a 16 under the GreenLight name. So can you explain to our watchers like how that works?
Yeah, so basically what it is if you want a dispensary license, we have a branding agreement, which means you could brand your dispensary as GreenLight, which would allow you to have an allotment of our flower that comes out of here at a certain price point for your patients, which you're guaranteed flower. We don't have to go out as cultivators and sell our flower
it's
to.
It's what's called a $0 licensing agreement, which means we're not involved with the license of the dispensary owner, but they are allowed to do business under the GreenLight brand name.
Okay.
So what we're doing is, I don't have to employ anybody to go out and sell my product. I know where it's going every week, and I know, at what price point it's going, and that's what it is.
So beyond the flower commitments challenge that you're solving for them, do you guys help them out like with other stuff too, like helping them get the dispensary design or the security of the dispensary, or
we work
with like local artists, different designers and stuff, but we obviously we allow creative expression with
it's all
anyone's doing.
Here's some suggestions, this is what we're doing, this is how we've done it in the past, but we're not if you have a GreenLight dispensary, you could do whatever you want in there,
sure, but
that you're going to be
never going to run out of flower, you're never going to run out of product,
and that's the main thing is you're going to be getting you're getting product at a reasonable price to give to your patients, and that's what what we're doing.
So the next question kind of falls in line with that same topic there. Are you a locally owned company?
Yes, we've been in the area for a while.
I'm not from here.
Well, so
but,
I
guess pretty much everyone involved.
We've been in Overland Park
in our side of licenses, which is what we have under our actual firm. We have 3 cultivation licenses and 3 dispensaries. So that's all we have, and all those are owned by local Missouri residents.
So, but the GreenLight name or the brand came
Kansas City.
It's from
Kansas City. Yeah.
Because isn't it in Vegas? Or
Vegas was another one that my godfather and his brother had called Acres. That was another project they had out there, but that was not they're born and raised. Went to Mizzou, went to KU, but born and raised, been in Kansas City, Overland Park area for the past 20 years.
Okay.
Is local Missouri or is local
that's what I was wondering.
Kansas City?
Isn't there GreenLight's in Arkansas too? But wasn't there GreenLight's in Arkansas before?
Yeah. So, but everything from GreenLight is based. GreenLight's home office is here.
Yeah.
We're here.
So even
we're in Kansas
when
City.
you had the dispensaries in Arkansas, the home base was still in Overland Park.
Yeah, that's where that's
Or
where
operations,
that's where
right?
the operations was.
Yeah.
But it was the whole Missouri's coming down the pipe. Let's see if we can't get it to take off.
Sure.
And,
Cool. All right. Well, so any more questions? Let's keep the questions rolling in. You guys, don't forget to tag a friend. By the way, we're giving away loyalty points for free in-store purchases with the GreenLight dispensaries. We're giving away free certification from Elevate Holistics. Tag a friend, bring them into this conversation. Next question rolling up here says, is your workforce union?
we're not a union workforce.
Yeah, we're not unionized.
Are there any cannabis? Is there any unions for
California?
In California, absolutely.
In California, was the last thing
Absolutely.
you wanted was a union coming and knocking at your door. Just because
We do employ several
union
unionized
contractors.
contractors and stuff, but as far as our workforce, no, I don't think there is a union for
And then-
what we do.
Surprisingly, still,
Yet.
We should start that. We should start that. It's a great
Yeah,
idea. We're going to get your number, whoever asked that question earlier. We're going to bring you in on the union thing.
surprisingly though, there's still a number of vendors and contractors that will not work in the cannabis industry.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah. For
it's,
sure.
I mean, you try to do as much stuff local as
Still
possible.
a little
and-
wishy-washy.
And people, cannabis, we can't, we
Oh,
can't come
yeah.
over there.
Oh, yeah.
But our window's broke. We really need it fixed. Nah, sorry.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I don't want to lose my life.
Yeah.
Go to prison for fixing that cannabis window.
Exactly.
That cannabis window.
All right, well, guys, hey, I want to remind you we're about to do a little tour here. We have some more questions coming in. Stick around. We have a tour of their facility, and we're going to talk about all that stuff. But next question says, I can actually answer this one.
Yeah,
will
take it.
clones be available for sale? Unfortunately, I wish that was the case. We need to all gather around and see how we can figure out how to get DHSS to change this ridiculous rule, because no one wants to pop from seeds unless you have Green Precision Analytics nearby to tell you if it's a male or female.
Oh, there it is. Third drop. You're welcome, Josh.
You're welcome, Josh.
The price goes down now.
but there's tons of other states where you can go in and buy clones, and it's actually really cool to see these little veg plants in these dispensaries in other states, as opposed to going in and buying seeds.
Yeah, I mean, you can buy the veg.
I love
go in
that
there,
in California.
go in there, try the flower,
Get the hottest gear.
and then turn around and buy it and cultivate it at
it's like,
home.
man,
I mean,
just
it's,
smoke that. I want to go.
this is
buy
what
the
I want.
clone.
Buy it. Try it before you buy
It
it.
just doesn't make quite sense.
Before
but,
you-
it's good for Josh though. All right, next question: is it difficult to control the temp growing inside? We were
Yes.
just talking about this
Yes.
today. It's 100 degrees outside.
100% yes.
We were talking about
it's-
there's going to be a lot of before the show we were talking about, man, right now there's a lot of cultivators in Missouri that are probably really hurting right now because it's finally reached 100.
Temp doesn't concern me as much as relative humidity does.
DG12s.
I'm new to the area, for the most part, but the humidity out here is a real killer. Temperature is a problem, especially when you got, what do we got? 900 high pressure sodium lights going all day long. It can get pretty warm. We do also have 200 tons of
400 tons of
450
tons of HVAC coming.
Of HVAC,
But
which keeps it relatively nice.
what we got to supplement, because we're waiting on a power drop from Evergy, if you're listening. What we're
Move
waiting.
us up the list. Move us up the list.
Tim, I'm talking about you, buddy.
So what we did get with some DG12s by Dry Gear.
Those things.
Each unit will pull 12 gallons of water an hour out of.
It's pretty impressive.
It's so and
pretty
it
impressive.
in the wintertime we'll convert them over to heat pumps and go at it that way. Help us out. But we're close to having our HVAC in.
Yeah.
I know John's listening.
Yeah, so
we're really close.
So just to kind of explain, just to the average viewer here, these companies are racing to get this stuff and to get it out to patients. And there's been a lot of, early on, there's a lot of bad social media stuff out there. Why isn't there medicine here? But they're working so fast to get it out here that now they're having to, like, all right, now we got to get
backtracking, get the essentials in, you know.
We got to do this, we got to do that, you know, now that the heat's coming in. But that's the challenging part of this whole situation is like, all right, what can we wait on? What can we do to make sure we get the medicine to the patients fast?
I know we've all been hearing it for a while now, but the pandemic did not help with getting any of this. Any of the supplies. I mean,
freight's insane.
You know, we're waiting on.
And on a large scale, we're just starting to see the effects of the pandemic on shipment and freight and all this. And we're a year we're a year into it, and you're just starting to see the real effects on a global scale of what's going on. And then the what was that canal?
The canal got backed up.
Yeah, the canal got clogged.
Everything's just kind of sitting in mailbox.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it is. It's like we called for a quote on some soil the other day. They said, "Hey, 8-week lead time." I called him today to pay for it, and he's like, "Well, your next shipment's going to be a 15-week lead time." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, geez.
We don't grow in peat and perlite, but peat and perlite's on back order for like 90 days right now, something like that.
Past the expected delivery date. So
it's rough right now.
If you didn't plan ahead, and if you didn't have any funds to plan ahead, you're definitely stuck in between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. Well, the good thing, it's good for the local hydroponic stores. All right, what do you got? All right, next question says, how many locations will be in the KC area? I'm assuming this is how many dispensary locations are in the KC area?
So there's Bannister,
Independence,
Harrisonville, Blue Springs,
and then Independence South.
And then Independence South will be the ones that'll be branded GreenLight here in
the KC
metro area.
Okay. And of those, how many do you know how many of those are open yet?
There is three currently, and I believe the others are not too far behind.
Right on. And then I just saw on the text here, when's the Blue Springs location opening?
I would say, I mean, I know they're close. I drove by there the other day, and when I was going to a hardware store.
I think they're just waiting on commencement. Are they still building?
No, I'm pretty sure
I think they're just waiting on commencement. So, I mean, it could be tomorrow. It could be, well, it's probably not going to be tomorrow, but you get what I'm saying. It could be next week. It could be 2 weeks.
Is that on Colburn Road?
I think it's off of Noland Road.
That's it.
Right. I think there's like a new pizza place going in there, and
I've seen that one.
I think
for a while.
No, that's smart. We're opening up right next to a pizza place.
Yeah, it'd be. Come next door. Bring your receipt from GreenLight. We'll get you a Domino's pizza.
It's pepperoni pizza. Well, how about this, guys? Let's take a little break. Sure. When we get back from the break, we're gonna do the whole video tour of their facility. Feel free to ask more questions. This has been a great show. You guys are asking a lot of questions. It really makes the show a lot more interactive, so we appreciate it. Before we go to the Cannon Convict update here, don't forget to tag a friend, bring them into the conversation. You get entered into the loyalty points for free in-store purchases from GreenLight dispensaries, the free certification from Elevate Holistics. Thanks, guys. Great first half. Let's take a little break and check in and see what's going on with the Cannon Convict Project.
Hey guys, Chris and Christina with the Cannon Convict Project. Hope you guys are enjoying the show tonight from GreenLight. We have a few short updates for you this week.
So we want to start this week by sending a shout out to Charles White and Christopher Simpson. Since our last update, they have been able to enjoy their 1-year freedomversary. So welcome home, guys. We hope you've enjoyed your 1 year of freedom, and I know you guys have been doing a lot with your time.
Happy anniversary. Charles was released on June 12th of 2020, and Chris was released on June 15th of 2020. And so, again, congratulations, guys, on your 1 year of freedom.
Next, I want to touch real briefly on Rob. He had his home visit today. Unfortunately, his dad was in the shower and missed the individual who was coming to check out his residence. The home plan is taking him to his father's in Columbia, and so they have to come and inspect the place, make sure it's a real location, make sure it's an appropriate place for him to live once he's out of incarceration, things like that. His dad tried to reach him again, has been unsuccessful, so hopefully they'll be able to connect tomorrow and start that over again. Also, with that said, since it is getting down to the wire, anyone who's in the Columbia area that has any kind of available employment that would want to consider Rob as an employee, please reach out to us at canaconvict@gmail.com. We want to get him out on the best foot, with his feet hitting the ground. So any kind of employment that you have that you're willing to hire him for, please reach out to us and we'll consult with him and see what's the best fit.
We'd love to eventually get him into the cannabis industry if he wants to, but we need to see how that all plays out with his probation and parole. So, cannabis companies, keep your eye open for that, but we got to wait to really hear the news and figure out what we're allowed to do. So just anybody, if you can help, let us know. We need to get him a job.
Okay, next I want to touch on something that was unveiled just a couple days ago by some House lawmakers. It was a bill that would decriminalize all drugs. It's kind of a controversial issue with some individuals, but I think it's a wonderful thing that we need to continue to follow up on. It's very new, it's preliminary, we don't know what's going on with it yet, so keep your eyes out. That's just very exciting news. Obviously, cannabis is involved with that.
The war on drugs has failed. There's other ways to handle this, and incarcerating people that have mental health issues or have substance abuse issues is just not the way. So,
and drugs are winning.
Yep.
And finally, we want to end with saying that we're so proud of everyone in the community. We see what all of you guys are doing, and you're working your butts off, and you are really thriving in your space. And your specialty and what you're trying to advocate for here in the community. We love you. We see you. Keep up the good work. We are here to support you 110%. And just keep doing what you're doing. We're so proud of you.
Your love and support is directly what got Robert Franklin granted clemency. We, signing all those letters of recommendation and all the support that you guys have given us and given Robert and given everybody else has really made all this happen. So keep it up. We can all do this together.
And that's all we have. We love you guys. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Love you guys.
Hello, this is Kelly Ripple coming at you from one of my favorite observation research spots that I've been coming to for decades. And it shows the proliferation of hemp pretty well, because they try to kill it every year and it always comes back just as robust as ever. I'm grateful and honored to be one of the founding members of the Kansas Cannabis Coalition, as I am also founding president of Planted Association of Kansas and co-founder of Kansans for Hemp. And ever since about 1999, when I learned that my dad was involved in K-State research about hemp, I've wanted to learn as much as I can about the plant and humanity's relationship with it. And I look forward to collaborating with the coalition and others as we work towards evidence-based policy and advocating for inclusion in the emerging sectors to come.
The Missouri Cannabis Industry Association has been our longest-running show sponsor, while providing quality education over many topics in partnership with area cannabis professionals. MCIA is dedicated to a free cannabis market to create supplies and prices that are patient-friendly, with initiatives to support adult-use cannabis, to protect home growers' rights, and expand the caregiving program. Go to mocia.org to learn about memberships, to learn about their certified caregiving program, and learn how to get involved. Thank you, MCIA, for being a show sponsor.
Getting a medical marijuana patient recommendation just got easier with Elevate Holistics. Using HIPAA-compliant telemedicine software, Elevate Holistics enables patients like you to receive medical marijuana recommendations from the comfort of their own homes. Here's how it works. First, visit elevate-holistics.com to book your appointment using our online schedule. Then complete the intake forms in our confirmation email. Finally, visit with the doctor using the link in your confirmation email. It's that simple. Book an appointment today.
Potbelly.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Sorry, we got a little late on the break there, but welcome back. Thanks for sticking around the whole time. We have some great video lined up for you guys of the facility here. While James gets that queued up, just want to say thanks, guys, for coming on the show. Thanks for GreenLight for sponsoring this whole thing. It's really cool to hear the stories of the guys that are behind the whole cultivation thing. So thank you guys for all the hard work you've done to get to this point. While James is queuing that video, we got it queued up here.
Yeah.
So we came here. This is the live video here. We're going to show you guys of the facility. Let's go ahead and play that, and then Dylan, why don't you tell us what we're looking at here?
Okay. So what we're looking here is grow room number 1. We grow in. Our medium is cocoa. We've had great success, and this room alone holds about 5,500 plants. This is one of 3 rooms in the facility, and there's I think 400 something lights in this room.
How many plants are in there? That's a lot of plants.
5,500.
5,500 plants. Wow.
5,500.
So this is a huge space here, and we talked a little bit about the heat situation. Is this one of the rooms that is challenging that a little bit?
Yeah,
Challenging, we've been able to mitigate it a little bit, but
our roof deck in this building, because we wanted to get going quick and get the medicine out to the patients, is we're at 25 feet.
Oh, there I am.
So we got a couple different atmospheres, from the canopy, above the lights, and then all the way up to the ceiling.
Yeah.
So, but by the end of next week, we should have that all wrapped up, and we should be in good shape. But that's the only hard part about, like you said, we trying to get in and get it moving, and then going back and fixing some of the stuff. And some of the stuff is essential to the growing process.
And there's a lot of other. So this was a facility that was already. This is a retrofit facility, right? So this was a Pepsi plant.
Originally this was a Pepsi,
bottling facility.
Yeah.
Which holds its own challenges. These like drains that are collapsed from carbonation over the years and whatnot. But it was a quick retrofit while we wait for the rest of our supplies from that the pandemic held up. And
a big part of like the delay in these cultivations getting up and running beyond COVID and the a lot of the investors that may have fallen out because of the COVID thing, but another part of the whole issue of that is some people are choosing to build from the ground up, which is a whole other challenge. You have the luxury of creating your own space from scratch, but the time sensitivity is a major issue getting the product out there.
That would have been, we would have had to take, by the time you get building permits and, now everybody's wanting to know about your runoff and stuff. This was already a industrial facility that we can, so we already had all the studies done. So we just had to come in, outfit it, and this room that we're looking at here is huge. It's around 27,000 square feet, right?
27,000.
So I mean,
652.
we're gonna chop it up soon and subdivide it, but to do that and get off and going in a timely manner just wasn't possible at all.
Yeah. So obviously this guy is defoliating here. So what is this the most work? What is the most labor intensive part?
Defoliating is by far the most laborious challenge that we have here. It takes time and it takes dedication,
patience,
and patience, and treating every plant as an individual, essentially. Not even if it's a clone, as you see right here. Not every plant's going to grow exactly the same.
I mean,
no matter if
you
it's
see the staggered sizes and everything. All that stuff is cut on the same day, but you got to,
our prop room at any given time has 12,000 cuttings in it.
On a
minimum. Our propagation team is absolutely crushing it. I couldn't be prouder.
We're at 5%
loss rate in propagation, which is
any other facility I've ever been
of.
in. We've been at 20 to 25%, and 20% outstanding.
Wow.
But we
and then as you see there's a lot of new cultivars that we've been working on for a while, and
so how many strains are you guys?
We will have about 25. We have 25 here now.
We're weeding them out. We phased a couple out that
we'll
weren't
probably
quite
be down
performing
to
as well.
18. Sorry, John.
18.
So what room are we looking at right here?
So this room is grow room 2. This is actually the smallest room. This one holds about 43 to 4,400 plants. This one, our light spacing was a little bit different on this one. We are actually increasing our.
We're just waiting on power. That's our.
Yeah, power is a big situation that you have to
I'd
always
say that
have
for
to take into
California.
consideration.
So you're waiting on power to do.
So we can increase
we want to put about 50% more lights in this room.
So, and I know I've been in construction before, so I know that like waiting on.
Well, you know PG&E
Oh,
power.
yeah,
When
I
PG&E
know.
says they're going to bring
Pretty
power,
much.
it could be 4 years later.
They're their own government. They don't.
yeah.
They don't answer to anybody. You're on a list somewhere, and you don't get to know when it
Yeah,
is.
and
I get it.
Evergy's been a lot easier to work with, and we should finally be getting a drop about end of week next week.
Yeah.
And here's our water tank storage, RO system in the back.
So it's all automated watering.
Fairly automated. I do like to keep someone pretty involved. Full automation definitely comes with its own set of problems. So I do like to keep someone directly involved with what's going into the plants on a daily basis.
See, and here you got it.
Here's more defoliation. I mean, this is literally like most of the people that we end up hiring have to start doing defo.
Yeah, it's obviously to get the light down in there. It's all the lower flowers.
That's our true OG actually.
And then these guys are
transplanting.
Yeah.
We have a veg room that holds. So basically, we keep one round of plants in our propagation room, one round of plants in our veg room, and then to try and get as many turns as we can per year, because we are maxed out on.
Get the Desilato sticker up there.
Yeah, we're maxed out on our
Canopy
license,
square
on our
footage.
canopy square footage here. So it's all about
rotation.
turns. Yeah.
Get them in and out of there. And,
Yep, in and out.
Yeah. Cool. So these guys, they do this. How often do they do this here? The transplanting. This is what
every 2 to 3 weeks we have like a major transplant.
And it probably lasts for a week. So about every week something's getting transplanted.
Yeah, our goal here is for each room we're on a 3-week cycle. So by the time we're done harvesting our last room,
We're filling.
processing it, we're just about ready to harvest our next.
So
room.
these guys that are transplanting here, they'll jump on a different job or part of the whole thing next week.
Yeah, I mean, I try to localize employees, but at the same time, and a lot of these people are new and they just want to learn.
Which is
so
good because we don't have anybody with set ideas, because we're not growing 6 plants. We're growing thousands. So we gotta you gotta scale it up. You gotta figure it out.
And everyone wants to learn, which is super great. So we try to bounce people around as much as
just cross train
as much as the facility will allow us to. And then here's our dry room, and this is actually the nicest dry room I've ever had in my life. We have a 200-ton HVAC unit on there, so we are actually able to keep our temperatures down to like 60 degrees.
We can get that thing down to 40 degrees.
I can get it. Yeah, I can get it lower.
40 degrees. Quest 510s up there.
It's impressive.
That's a big problem that the hemp industry here in the state had off the bat, is none of them really thought ahead on like where they were going to dry and process.
That's a problem. That's a problem. I don't care if you're someone that's been growing for 30 years or someone that's been growing for 2 years. They still never think about where they're going to dry the product after it's done. It's like cultivating it's a third of the battle. Then you got to dry it, cure it, trim it, recure it.
We had 270,000 square feet of cultivation out in California, and our dry room was 784 square feet.
You can imagine the nightmare it was.
It was horrible.
Wow. Yeah. It's nice to have that space, That's cool.
Yeah, one thing I'm super, super happy about here is the dry room that we have. So
the dry room actually was Pepsi's CO2 room.
Okay.
So the ventilation in there was spot on. It's FRP'd all the way up the walls. We have some really nice racks from Aru coming, which are, we'll be able to take them to the spot that we're going to harvest, cut the plant, weigh the plant, enter the metrics, and then take that whole rack in there. But
the pallet racking is nice, but it could be more efficient, more space efficient. But what we need to do right now. It works pretty well, and we also use 3 Quest 506 dehumidifiers in there to keep humidity right where we want it.
Right on. Well, it's a beautiful facility. Glad we got to show that to everybody. A lot of times people, that are home cultivators, it's good for them to be able to see what the massive scale looks like.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's
a pretty incredible amount.
It's kind
of
of
work
hard
that
to.
goes
It's
in.
really hard to fathom. Like, okay, there's people that spend 3-4 hours a day in their tent at home on 6 plants, and then whenever you try to get them to scale up, you got to kind of break them, and get them into, hey, we can only spend 30 seconds on this plant.
Yeah.
And then move on.
Yeah, it's a huge difference, It's like craft and then the mass, right?
Exactly.
And you have to have the mass.
You got to balance it out.
You have to have that, and then you run into more problems on the mass because
which is hard, You're always trying to not compromise. You're always trying to put out the best product you possibly can.
Like our room being 27,000 square feet, 3 flowering rooms,
And we pull a whole room down in a week, 5 to 7 days, which is pretty incredible.
But if something were to compromise it, it's going to compromise the whole. You're not dealing with 5,000 square feet. You're going to deal with 27,000 square feet of problems. So that's why we're so cautious.
Sure.
Yep.
I got another question up here. Are they all autos?
No, so we did. We've done several. Well, no, we only did.
Rounds.
We did one
and a half.
1 round in 2 rooms of auto flowers. Everything that we're doing right now is all photoperiodic. I know some people had some skepticism on the whole auto flower thing, which I get. Auto flowers have gotten a bad rap for a long time. Now, me personally, I have some friends that I've made over the years that are really doing some amazing things with auto flowers. That being said, we have fully transferred into photoperiodic plants. But for those home growers that are skeptical on auto flowers or don't think that they'll hold up, I don't agree. And I've been doing this a long time, and I've really seen some amazing things come out of auto flower seeds.
Especially the past 2 years.
Absolutely.
It's really taken,
absolutely.
You get some of these autos, like Mephisto or 1212 Genetics. You're talking, some of these guys are testing some of this stuff on an indoor level.
We had autos testing at
30%,
27%,
and it's not uncommon. It's not a fluke.
And also have a great nose, great high, and but I digress.
Is GreenLight going to eventually get into selling seeds here to home cultivators?
I don't really know too much about that.
I actually, there's nothing that I've read in the regulations.
Well, I know that's you're allowed to do that, but obviously everybody and the focus should be getting just the flower and the medicine and the concentrates and the options on consumption.
If I can break down that barrier with a lot of people the skeptics on autoflower, absolutely I'd be willing I'd be willing to do that. The hard part is we would have to have a specific area specifically for autoflower seed production, which means you're doing open pollination, you're doing all sorts of, because obviously you're not cloning them, you have to do.
And does that count against your cultivation?
And then
that's what I was gonna
canopy,
say.
because you're bringing it to flower.
And the other hard part about it is, if you're going to start putting out autoflower seeds, you have to know that what you're putting out is quality product, and that means you're not sending out F1s, you're not sending out even F2s, because you have such a crazy variance from seed to seed. Mm-hmm. Now you actually have to take the time to breed those autoflowers down to get exactly what you want. Now you're looking at like F4s, F5s, and that takes time. That takes some serious time. Like a lot of people
eventually,
don't know. There's not a whole.
It'd be cool eventually
that's why I just don't understand why not clones. Like, you're already dialing these plants in. Why not just take the clone of the plant? Why go through all the generations of dialing in the seeds?
Like we were saying earlier, that is one of the coolest things in California, to go to a dispensary, buy a little, buy a gram or an eighth.
Yeah.
take it home, try it out, see what it does for you, and then come back the next day and you can go buy your, buy your medicine.
At the same time, as a home grower, you need to always be diligent. Say, if that ever does become the option where you can go to a dispensary and buy cuttings, buy genetics that you're interested in, you always do your due diligence. This is one of the problems that I saw in California with certain viroids, hops latent viroid being the biggest one, Pythium, Fusarium, all these plant diseases get transferred super quick once people start trading cuts and doing all that. So always be diligent, always keep sterile environment.
Today,
you clean your tools, clean your room, clean.
Sanitation
is
but
so
you
important.
Couldn't get me to take a clone from anybody in California right now.
Because of that.
Because of the hops latent virus.
And that's
it's rampant.
You don't virus to California, right? Like
it's starting
I've never heard about
I think it's starting to hit Colorado.
I think it's hitting Colorado, but
what you see is all these guys just trading clones super haphazardly and
nobody's doing any research.
That's what's going to happen.
And the problem is you can take it all the way to flower before you even realize that you have the virus.
What does that virus look like when it turns up on the flower?
It'll just dud out.
When it
gets to flower,
it grows super weird. You don't have super straight, healthy stalks. They kind of look like W's essentially.
Kind of like a menorah is how they.
That's a good one.
That's kind of how they
look like a menorah.
If you look at it, you'll see kind of like a menorah effect come out, and then they'll never
yield.
Once you take it to flower, they'll never.
But one of the things that is available in California that hopefully,
culture.
hopefully the virus doesn't get this far, but one of the things that they do offer in California is testing. You can send in, and you don't even have to send in like flower or anything. You can literally just take a leaf or plant material sample, send it in, and they can tell you whether or not you're positive for the hops latent virus.
Okay.
But that goes for any viroid. There's a ton of them. There's tobacco mosaic virus.
Cigarette. Smoking, not washing your hands,
washing your hands.
What's the smoking situation like for your employees here?
We have
smoking, or?
We have 55 hand sanitizer dispensers throughout the place.
Okay.
Every room has 2
no one touches
hand
a
wash
plant without
sinkers.
gloves on. That's for
sure.
Yeah.
And then designated smoking area. Everybody comes in. If they are going to go outside and smoke tobacco, come in, hit hand sanitizer, then go wash their hands. And then once they get into their room, they wash their hands, glove up, and then they're good to work.
Yeah, I've heard of other facilities that wouldn't even allow them to smoke cigarettes, and I would not work there. I would not work. I'm a smoker.
I'm a
guilty
smoker
habit,
as well, unfortunately.
But no, but that's cool.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. You quit yesterday. Hey, we got another question up here. Are you using any pesticides? If so, which ones?
I'll go into this. So, yes, we do use pesticides. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I only use pesticides that are OMRI certified, which means they are certified organic. I am a certified pesticide applicator in 3 different states, including California, which
most
has
stringent.
The most stringent testing. Not as far as cannabis, but to be able to apply pesticides is stringent, and I was at the highest level, which is a qualified applicator certificate. So basically, I'll tell you my regimen right now. Propagation, I only use beneficials. I don't spray pesticides in my propagation room.
Bug on bug violence.
Bug on bug violence. Learn it, live it, love it. Once they go into our vegetative state, our first transplant, that's really the only time in their life cycle that I use pesticides. Really, the main ones that I use are micronized sulfur, and micronized sulfur helps protect against micromites like russet mites, broad mites, and also repels any powdery mildew. The other 2 that I mainly use is insecticidal soaps. which is just potassium salts of fatty acids, and neem oil. Those are the three main ones that I use. I also use some biologicals like Bioceres from BioSafe Systems is a really good one, and PFR 97. Now these are safe for humans and safe for plants, but what they do is they attack the soft tissue cells of soft-bodied insects like aphids, spider mites, your typical pests that are going to affect your crop in a very serious way. Once I hit flower and I start my 12-12 light cycle, I stop and I once again revert back to my beneficials. Not beneficials, predators, which are beneficial.
Nice question. Thanks for that question. Keep the questions coming to you guys. We appreciate those. What else can we talk about? Let's while we're waiting on another question to come out, let me ask you, like, what's been the most challenging part of coming and growing here from your past experiences?
I would say it's finding the balance of people that want to come work in the industry,
Labor pool,
but the people who really want to come work in the industry and learn, because there's, you
everyone wants to be in the cannabis industry until
but
they're
nobody,
in the cannabis industry.
first thing Dylan's line whenever he interviews people for the cultivation area is, "This is not glamorous work. It's tedious and
it's monotonous. You're gonna get frustrated. You're gonna get pissed off.
But that's where you start.
But at the end of the day, when it all comes together and you pull a crop off, like it's nothing
instant
like
gratification, because you're watching it every cycle and watching stuff stack up, stage out, what's coming in behind it, and then you get to see patients take your medicine and use it to relieve themselves of pain or whatever disorders they may have.
Other than labor, I think y'all's environment here is probably the biggest hurdle. Yeah. I said y'all.
That's how you have to. When you're talking to somebody about the weather here, you have to start with y'all. Y'all, the weather here is really hot.
Diatomaceous earth.
All right. So next question says, can you use or recommend? That's it.
Diatomaceous earth.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So we've used it.
I'm not an advocate of diatomaceous earth. The biggest issue when people ask me about organic is the potential of failed testing.
You don't know what's in it.
You don't know where that came from, even if it's something you've used for years. The best example I can use is people were using a rosemary oil in California when I was there, and everyone was failing testing, and no one could figure out why, because it's rosemary oil, it's natural, it's organic, it's there's nothing wrong with it. The problem is the rosemary farmers were using Eagle 20, they were using Avid, they were using Forbid on their crop because it's an ornamental, so they didn't have any stringent testing. Well, they take that and they concentrate it into an oil. Guess what you have? Now you have a pesticide that's going to make you fail for the worst pesticides that are out there. So if you're going to use diatomaceous earth or any organic product, as far as
get it tested first. California pot better than Missouri?
Oh yeah. So
I don't know about that.
The question is for the viewers: why is California pot better than Missouri pot?
I don't know that that's true.
I don't know either.
I don't know that that's true. I've seen some. I mean, I was in California for 9 years, and I've seen just as good product coming out of here.
Yeah, and you get into established cultivars out there that are just making their way into the area.
Exactly.
We haven't had a chance to fully open up what everybody's
Yeah, and plus there's
wait till you start breeding.
It's too soon.
There's so many levels. There's so many levels to that question.
Java.
I mean,
The Java.
California had years of a head time on us. Like, you know, it's
coming this way.
It's coming this way, and because of guys
this
like you.
This is a good one.
Hang on, I'll get to that.
Yeah, sorry.
It's because of guys like you that have gone out and done it in those states that are bringing that information back, and that's part of the big reason why, you know, you have these out-of-state companies coming in with their experience, finding their 51% or more local owners. That, you know, that's needed. That's part of the whole thing. And it's not that theirs is better; they had the head start, but plus two, it's a different growing environment here.
It's completely
and it just started.
like California,
Yeah,
where we were at in Monterey County. Every day from like 3 p.m. till 11 a.m. the next day, we had 100% humidity with the marine layer rolling off the ocean. So
25% of your crops are lost.
It's going to mold. You're getting, you know, botrytis out of 25% of your crop. So you got to find what works for you, and that's, you know, every different region in California has different cultivars. You know, it's all
microclimates.
Like, you know, you're not going to grow super sour diesel in Monterey because it's going to take you 12 weeks, and you only have 8 weeks at best, and then
before
it's done. You know, overnight your crop. You know, so it's all bringing all that and finding the right strain that's going to work in this region.
And those guys didn't get it right the first time either. There, you know, they all failed to learn all that stuff.
Failed,
you know, so it's like Missouri has to go through a little failure rate here to get up to.
Not everybody's complete. You know, everybody's like just getting out of the gate. I mean, you know, that's what we're coming up against.
Sure.
And our grow one, we're on our second harvest, you know. Or we're in our second flower cycle right now.
So this is just very early on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very early.
And we're getting the AC units stacked on next the next couple of days. So hang on, and we'll get there. All right, next question says, why are Missouri's THC levels so low compared to Cali and Colorado? Also, when will prices drop? So I think we kind of answered that with the last question, like the THC levels, you know, even though that's an arbitrous like measure of like figuring out what works for you the best, in my opinion.
Not talking any trash on the testing labs in California, but look up Sequoia, and that'll give you a pretty good insight into how a lot of these labs operate in California.
What there is not.
There's a lot. Like, hey, give me that Tide test, and here's your money here.
There's what?
There's zero standardization across the United States for THC
and
potency testing.
And you're also looking at what, like 60 testing labs in California compared to the 5 we have here.
And like, I know one of the reasons we chose GPA is Josh did a ton of research, got samples of all different sorts, you know, from all over the United States, and then was able to hone in his machine with manufacturers of the machine. So what we're getting, to me, is probably the truest.
Yeah.
Because in California, you could go...
I mean, I've had some genetics tested 38%, and even I'm skeptical about a 38%.
Yeah.
Like, you're saying almost you're saying almost half of this is THC. Like,
there's no...
I'm just saying, like, just looking at it, there's more plant material here than there is anything else.
And so, you know, that's one of the things. And I know Josh and Tony at GPA are actually working on... There's a whole group of people that are working on standardizing the testing.
Which should be. I mean, it's ridiculous that it isn't.
You know, you don't... It's like you're, you know, over here in Missouri, you could blow a .08, but you go over to Kansas and their machine only reads a .04, you know, like it should be across the board.
Sure, yeah. I mean, but at least, like, I feel like Missouri is at least not getting the back table money that is going on with, like, all those 60 plus for that industry in California.
Missouri is one of the only places right now that test for chromium. I mean, we test for more elements here than
California.
And actually, even than Las Vegas, which is the most stringent on testing, or was. So I'd say Missouri is.
Well, Missouri's doing good.
Yeah, I mean, it's great.
Yeah. Next question says, any way to make packaging more green earth friendly?
Oh, I know. I hear you. I really do. I hear that.
There's talks of packaging like recycling programs,
Well,
it's hard because no matter what we send out, they can't return it.
Exactly.
Like they can't bring it back to me and have me reuse it
because it could be contaminated. So it never. They tried it down in Santa Barbara and all that, and it just never.
Well, I've seen other places that are like you bring your jar in and they can the deli bar where they can fill the jar, but not like packaging where you can bring back the packaging. And then even like we would all love to have hemp packaging, of course, but the prices on that is just astronomical.
And
the
they
prices it deteriorates and it can
And-
contaminate your product.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So-
there's no mandated testing on CBD products or hemp products. I mean,
Yeah,
They're just looking for potency to make sure it's not running hot.
sure.
But, for example, there was, just, what was it, about 2 years ago, we ran a test to see, does this cone test this, hemp cones and stuff. And it's like, Jesus, you don't even want to, I can't believe they could sell it,
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So it's you gotta be really careful when it comes to hemp this or hemp that because it could be bad
there's
news.
no regulated testing on
Because
it.
all it would
thought about
take
that.
is somebody to have their, a nug in a jar,
And not
pre-roll
even
in a jar.
and that's not even to say that it's like the people cultivating the hemp's fault. If they're just growing,
They
with
just
the
have no
soil,
legs,
I mean,
you know?
they could have heavy metals in the soil. They could have residual pesticides. I mean, I had a friend in California that it's his own fault. He bought a property without doing a soil test on it, and they were hot for uranium. I'm like, how does that even happen?
Wow.
I think the government takes your property.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we're gonna take that.
But we're working through it, and there's always new clever ways of coming, like some of these, Mylar packs are actually recycled, recycled material that's being sterilized and formed, and then
What about, before we go to the next question, what about like recycling carts and stuff? Is that, I mean, I've seen that in other states. Or
that
is
could be a tricky game because you can't, like, if you
How
were
do you
recycling it,
sterilize it?
and how do you make sure not everything's going to be out of there?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you
Yeah.
can't return, because then it'd be kind of like you have to manifest it
Sure.
almost, because
Like,
you got
here,
to.
take this needle back and put my next
Yeah.
medicine in it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
All right, next question. What does running hot mean?
So running hot in hemp or CBD is, what are they allowed, like 0.75% THC?
Exactly, yeah.
So they would be or whatever the legal limit is, they would be over the legal limit.
Sure.
So that's what they test for,
Sure.
THC. And
they just made a change recently where they can actually remediate now, as opposed to having the hemp farmers destroy everything that's above the the
Oh, really?
threshold. That was just something that happened in the past.
dilute it down and-
which is wonderful for any kind of. If you want hemp farmers to grow hemp, don't say, hey, if you don't do it this way, we're going to burn the whole crop down.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
you're off 1/4%. You're just throwing
Now they
away
have
months and
options.
months. Yeah.
Now they have options. Hopefully that'll turn into industry.
Standardization,
replacing,
that's what needs to
replacing
happen.
Construction materials and all that. Since lumber is like the new slinging
Actually,
crack on the street.
I just saw about 45 minutes before we started this that they said lumber prices are falling quick, and hoarders are just going back to Home Depot
no.
trying to return all this lumber. Like they're showing people pulling up in flatbed trailers trying to unload pallets of 2x4s before the price goes down. It's like, you go to Costco right now and it says you can't return rice from the, pandemic, We're not taking rice back.
we don't
because you
take toilet
hoarded
paper,
it. Yeah.
rice, or lumber.
Yep.
All right, one more question. Do you plan to grow cannabis with high CBD to help combat possibly bad CBD flower use?
We
That's a
are
good question.
working on. Dylan has a couple different varieties that are not exactly 1-to-1, but somewhere in there.
A little higher, higher CBD. Like, because most of the stuff you see right now, you're looking at like 0.05 or
Yeah.
under 1% significantly CBD.
But we're I would say he's pretty deep into that project right
We're
now.
well on our way.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously I believe in the whole full plant spectrum. 1-to-1s. Like I love that stuff. Takes a little more to get me to where I need to be, but I also understand the body gets the health benefits of the full plant spectrum.
It's like people going out and buying straight CBD, you have to have that THC in there.
If I make an autoflower that's 1-to-1 CBD to THC, are y'all gonna buy it?
I would buy it. I think I would buy it. I like
it's going to be a lot easier going that route than the other way.
Yeah. Well, any questions out there, guys? We're getting pretty close to get. Oh, there's none. Do you guys plan on manufacturing any moon rocks?
Right now, we cannot.
I'd love to. But we can't.
We even tried
manufacturers have to do that, right?
Manufacturers, and you can't have a combustible with an infused product. So you can't dip a pre-roll in
those beautiful
little line in hash and then roll it in keef. You just can't do that here.
You can't use a distillate rolled pre-roll and then dipped in keef.
Why do they do that?
It makes no sense to me, but.
It's the rules right now, and
it's the rules right now, but
hopefully they'll evolve.
We're moving.
So just in case you guys don't know at home, like they made these rules. DHSS made the rules where manufacturers can only manufacturers had to make the pre-rolls. Even you guys can't even.
It used to be on the cultivation side initially, and then I believe they moved it over.
Yeah, and
I think that's actually. Like most states, you don't anymore. You're not making
California.
Pre-rolls. You had to have processing.
Yeah,
in California, you had to have processing.
Yeah, had to have processing. License.
So California had processing, cultivation, distribution, transport.
Which let me tell you guys, that's the one thing Missouri did correctly. There's not 4 changes of hands before a product gets to a dispensary, and every time it changes hands, it is taxed again.
We had 5 taxes before we even saw.
It's insane.
Saw a consumer in California.
It's insane.
It was like $437 a pound is what your tax ended up coming to be.
Just a tax.
Just in tax. So
just in tax.
Whenever you're wholesaling a pound at I don't know what was the rate before we left.
A lot lower than here.
Yeah, I mean, high, like decent for like greenhouse stuff. It was like $12.50.
But then that's before it's even packaged, and then they package it. And now you're at like $700.
And you can't as a cultivator, you can't take it to
retail.
You can't take it to retail. You have to use a distribution company.
Wow. Well, Missouri did a few things right.
Oh, yeah. They did do a few things right.
I'm not the only one that was. I mean, there's a lot of good things in there. It's people like to always point at the problems or be pessimists and stuff. But it's good to hear that we're doing something right, at least on the.
It's evolving. It's going to change.
On the state track and trace software, there's a lot of things that I wish would have been in California that Missouri actually saw the problem with it and
left it open
and addressed it, and there's a lot of stuff like that I really do appreciate about DHSS's way of assessing the regulations here.
Well, cool, guys. Well, I think we're getting pretty close to being done. If there's any last-minute questions, feel free to chime in. I'm going to do my little outro here, but I will take questions here if they do come. Real quick, though, Nancy Perez also said, will you be my caregiver? I think she's talking to you, Dylan. So evidently she's impressed with what you had to say there.
Actually, I don't know if I don't have my caregiver's license, but
I'm sure you're pretty busy with everything that's happening here.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm here. I work here about 80 hours a week.
He has to be here at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we're keeping him here up late at night.
To make breakfast.
Yeah. It's past my bedtime.
It's already past your bedtime.
But I appreciate you.
Thanks, guys, for doing this with us. Obviously, you guys have a lot of experience, and we appreciate you guys bringing that experience here to Missouri. So, thanks to our sponsors, of course, GreenLight's. Thanks so much for letting us come here to your facility. A lot of questions that we answered earlier. There's a lot of people who are wondering why there's so many GreenLight's. It's a branding situation. A lot of people, a lot of local owners didn't want to even waste or worry about trying to develop those contracts with flower.
Find the
flower. They got help with trying to figure out the process of opening up and all that stuff. So It makes a lot of sense why there's so many GreenLight's. They're all different owners, 51 or more % owner of a local Missourian.
All local.
All of them. You guys were based out of Overland Park with your head corporate office, so very, very local. It's easy to beat up on the big guys sometimes, and so I appreciate you guys sticking through that. Not calling you fat. Not calling you that. Camera does add a few pounds, but
A few? I think it was like 10.
But also thanks to our other sponsors, MCIA, our longest show running sponsor. Got a great show with them coming up next month with Cultivation Water. Also, Elevate Holistics. Last chance here to tag a friend who needs a certification. You can tag yourself if you want one. Also, free in-store loyalty points from GreenLight dispensaries. Tag a friend for that. Did you guys?
Free. Come visit us on our doctor's days for getting your med card.
Okay. So when's the doctor's days?
You can refer to our website. It changes, but if you live in certain zip codes, you have basically a chance of getting a free med card.
So check out. Is it on GreenLight's website?
GreenLight.
Okay. So go on GreenLight's website. Check that out for a free certification there as well through them. Lots of loyalty points, like I said, that we're giving away. Tag a friend for that. Next week, we're going to be live from Casey Can Transport's office in Blue Springs with Casey Snell, talking about what's happening behind the scenes on the transportation side of things. Thanks to our production crew, James Thomas with Level Up AV here behind the ones and twos, and Cat King Films behind the camera there. Thanks for helping us with this production tonight. And thank all of you for watching at home. If you have any input on future shows or companies or anything that we can do a show about, let us know. Shoot us an email, comment on the comments there, direct message us through Facebook or Instagram. Let us know what you want to see at home, because we're all about making sure we provide the content that you guys want to see. So thanks so much for watching. It's been a great night. We love you guys. Peace.
We're out.